Hey YouTube. Today we have a True North Knives special edition. It is a Tim Galyean Pro Series Lahar, and this is the small model with the blue anodizing inside of the titanium. It is a very, very nice knife. You see, it's one solid slab of titanium, although it looks like it has bolsters. What he did was end mill cut here and here, and I guess they're calling this as jigsaw motif, but I'm not sure if that's correct for this model because there's a couple different patterns I've seen. He took the end mill and textured the titanium here and then anodized between these two end mills to make it look like it has bolsters when it's one solid piece. He ran the anodizing all the way around and did do it on both sides identical. It has a pocket clip for tip down carry. It is not movable or reversible. That is the only way it fits. And it is, of course, a flipper design. Both scales are solid titanium with a CPM 154. Awesome blade. These Pro Series are hand ground by Tim Galyean. So it's more of a mid-tech knife. I'm sure this is all CNC cut. And I'm sure the outline is probably CNC cut on these. But they are hand ground. And I cannot find a flaw in it. Every edge is perfect. Perfect. And as I prefer, a very fine bevel for the cutting edge. I'm not fond of the high bevels. It also has IKBS, the Icoma Core bearing system, as the pivot, and this is the smoothest knife I've operated in quite some time. The detent is awesome. You get a little pressure on here, and she's fast. Hear how well it snaps open. The lockup is about, I'm going to say 15%, and it is spectacular. If I was using the tripod, I'd be happy to show you that it has no movement in any direction, and the tolerances are held to about Chris Reeve quality. We'll see how this detent clicks in. See how it's sucked in? And as tight can get. Well made, as you're not going to catch yourself on the point when it's closed, as you can with some models. Pocket clip is very functional and nice, low profile. There is great jimping on the flipper, which makes it easy to get a hold of. And there's jimping on the spine of the blade, which really works well. You'll see that as it's closed, there are no funny edges other than the flipper to get caught on. Everything is smooth and nice and rounded and done very well. Everything is beveled, and there are no crazy spots like on a lot of blades. After they close, you have the gap between the end of the blade where the hits of blade stop and the handle. I never cared for that. This is well done. A very nice model. I think Kershaw is who Tim Galyean works for, but this line is kind of exclusive to him. So some guys will say nicest Kershaw they ever saw, but it's by no means a Kershaw. This is perfect. The jimping here works perfectly. The IKBS, as you see, is outstanding. The small here is a little bit tiny, but not horrible. I can get all my fingers on it. The jimping, it looks like they're about 1/16 of an inch bandsaw cuts or something. They're straight down and they're square. And I don't know if the iPhone can pick that up. There you go. He did not radius any of the corners or the edges on this, and it is very, very aggressive. When rubbing your hand on here, I feel like I'm filing my finger. And it goes back far enough into the handle and forward on the blade that you really get a good purchase, and I cannot slide my thumb other than the movement of my skin on there inside it. That is perfect. And the grip is outstanding. It is deeply hollow ground. See if I can get a view. Deeply. and the phone barely picks up the edge. That's how fine it is. It is a razor blade with the belly here and this recurve to it. I imagine that it would be a very aggressive cutter, although I'll probably never even use this knife. I like it a lot. I'll probably keep it in the collection for a while, but this is not one I plan on keeping forever. I may end up parting with it. It may go towards my Wilson Combat 1911 money in the long run if I part with it, or towards another purchase, like the Hinderer did to get that Jens Anso haddock. You never know, both these together could get me another new Kimber. But that's for another day's thought. You see the IKBS logo, if I can get it to show up. Yeah, hard to see with this phone. Anyways, I'll give you a little better look at the pattern. The lockup. The standoffs are gold, which is kind of a nice touch. They look really good on this knife. They flow very well with the blue and the standard titanium bead blast. The pivots are a brushed finish, not quite a polish, but look very nice. And the whole thing comes together nicely as far as an art piece. It's a very attractive knife. Not normally my style on this blade. I prefer a tanto or a spear point. This kind of a clip point or drop point with the recurve, more like an Emerson Commander, is not my standard style, but this knife was so nice that when my buddy was saying that he was going to part with it, I decided I'd take it from him and work it out later. But just want to give you guys a look at it. There's the IKBS. And it says Galyean on top with Pro Series underneath in that line, with the big G square next to it. See, it doesn't take a lot of effort, and that sucker's out. Locks up solid, makes a nice sound. It's a beautiful knife. If you guys were looking at getting one of these, I may say go with the large. I held a large at the show. A guy wanted to trade me straight up a black anode large for this one, and I was about to do it because I see it in my stonewash. It looks like a slight blemish in the stonewash. It's hard to see with your eye even, but I can just barely pick it up through the camera. But his had a huge scratch down the black anodizing right here where my thumb's going. And if I'm not going to keep this forever and I want to part with it, I'm not going to take a scratched one to try and make my money on. So just figured I'd give you guys a look. It's a beautiful knife, superbly put together. I'm talking top quality. They don't get better than this and put together, or fit and finish. This really is what it comes down to. There's a lot of guys coming out with pretty much Chris Reeve quality stuff anymore, and I'd love to see what Chris Reeve would do if he was making this knife. But as far as it goes for the money, these are going for $4 1/4 from True North Knives when they're going. I got it for considerably less from my buddy, and for the money, you're talking about Sebenza quality. So if you guys want one, I'd say go get it while they're still around, or find one. I see them on the forums every now and then. I'd recommend the large, but these smalls are very nice. You'll even see recessed for your thumb, a nice spot to help disengage the lock. So anyways, that's it. Those are my thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed the vid, and this is a wonderful knife. You should check out Tim Galyean's stuff.